Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your Tottenham versus Nottingham Forest watch-along. But we've also got some big news coming out in the Premier League in the last few minutes. And it's coming in from Fabrizio Romano around, not Ruben Amorim, around Cunha. So basically, Man United are leading the race to sign Cunha from Wolves and negotiations are ongoing. Personal terms being discussed as Man United are aware of more clubs being keen and the 62.5 million release clause available. Good feelings after initial contacts between Cunha and Manchester United. Now, that's a very, very significant news story in the Premier League tonight. What are your thoughts on that? Doesn't matter whether you're an Arsenal fan, Chelsea fan, Man United fan, Liverpool fan or whatever. That is a very, very interesting story coming out. I was just live on the United Stand about an hour ago talking about it and a Daily Mail story, but Fabrizio Romano coming in with the story that Man United are getting increasingly confident about a signing for Cunha. I like this player. I actually think he'd have been a good signing for Arsenal. I think it'd be a good signing for Chelsea. I think it'd be a good signing, and when you're talking about clubs of that calibre, he's going to be a very good signing for Manchester United as well. So yeah, very, very, very interested to see what your thoughts are on that. Okay. Soupy says, Man United don't need another toxic personality. I think Man United need Cunha massively. I think a player that's kept Wolves up, albeit not individually, but he's got down to the task. Yeah, he got a sending off, but Wayne Rooney was tempestuous. Roy Keane was tempestuous. Eric Cantona was tempestuous. Other clubs have had players like that. You know, I don't see it a problem. I don't see it as a problem as well. Savage says, I wish Fabrizio would say something about Osimhen as well. He did. He said Man United are interested in Osimhen, but it depends on Champions League qualification. Mike says Cunha is exactly what we need at United. This is a signing that I would love to happen at United, but I just think it's a significant story for anybody to talk about. He's been one of the better players in the Premier League this season. We knew he was going to be on the move. And I think it's a very, very interesting deal and very interesting signing. Lineups are going around the screen here. I mean, let's not escape from the fact that whilst we're talking about what's going on in the Premier League, which is what we do on That's Football, we also have a very, very significant game of football going on tonight. The Premier League table looks like this for Forest. The way the race for top 5 has gone. And can I fact check this actually? Can somebody just fact check this for me? Is it true that Man United, that Nottingham Forest have been in the top 3 since September? Because if it's true, they definitely deserve top 5. Cunha's 25, he'll be 26 in next month, Gaz. So that is harsh if they miss out, having been in the top 3 since September. Yeah, I think it's harsh, but it just shows you the business end of the season. Newcastle have done a madness. Man City a Man City. Chelsea have gone and got themselves back in amongst it as well. Forest need to win tonight. You know, I think the genius of their season under Nunez has been a really strong defence and a counter. They've got to start winning games now. They can't afford to be drawing. So I think we're in for a very, very interesting game. This is the one that says they won't miss out. Let's start off with a poll. I think it's a good one as well. Will Forest miss out on UCL? Yes or no? Let me know what your thoughts are on that one. Pump it up. The Whites are going up, says Sonny, with our first super chat of the evening. And Mark, no commentary for Ballers League. I told you I was there for 3 weeks. I haven't really watched it tonight either, to be honest with you, because I've had loads going on with the United Stand. So I have got other things to do. Yeah. Osimhen are interested. Man United are interested in Osimhen, but there is no agreement. And a lot depends on whether they qualify for the Champions League. Yeah, interesting. Interesting there. But look, we're on That's Football here. If Man United want to be able to compete with the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle, Man City, Chelsea, Forest, Villa, they need to go out and buy big players because they're good teams. Yeah. HD says, I think Newcastle will miss out. I can't see it. I really, really can't see that happening, if I'm being honest. I really can't. Leeds United are back in the Premier League, says Omran. I didn't know that, but I've seen a few. Yeah, I do know that. I've just seen it on the bloody screen. Leeds and Burnley are promoted. Burnley, you just got relegated. You can clip this. Congratulations to Burnley for being promoted. You've just got relegated in a year's time. You've got no chance. I'm sorry. And it's not even your fault. You've just got relegated. And whoever comes up through the playoffs, even though you've not been promoted yet, you just got relegated. I did this last year, and I was right. And people don't like it, and they take it personally. I said Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, well done. Enjoy your stadium tour of the Premier League. You will be kicked out at the end of the tour. You're relegated, and it will happen again. Burnley are going down. It's not their fault. The Premier League is broken. I tweeted this earlier on. It's amazing to me how you've got White Trainer Brigade on Monday Night Football. You've got numerous podcasts. You've got numerous conversations about how great the Premier League is. But none of them want to talk about the fact that relegation doesn't exist in the Prem anymore. Why don't they want to talk about it? Why is it the richest league in the world doesn't want to promote the fact that they've ruined the relegation in their league? It's become a one-tier system. Nobody's talking about that, are they? Don't hear Carragher talking about that, dancing around in his white trainers. There is no relegation system in the Premier League at the moment. It's broken. I don't know how you fix it. I don't know how you fix it. Somebody said to me today, well, I don't agree with you because Villa got promoted that not long ago and now they're in the Champions League. Fulham got promoted not that long ago. Now they're in the top half of the table. Nottingham Forest got promoted that not long ago. Now they're in a Champions League race. Yeah, but you know what? 4 years ago, my guinea pig had been alive for 10 years. Now it's been dead for 2. At some point, it dies. The last 2 years, not Man United, the last 2 years, relegation, 3 up, 3 down. You're telling me next year that's not going to happen? At the moment, for the last 2 years, relegation's dead. In it. Robbo96 says, cringe Last of Us plug on Monday Night Football. If they want to make the show appear less cool, they're going to go in the right way about it. Thanks, Robbo. And Fuhad says, which type of football club governance do you prefer? Club owned by private individuals or groups or members or fan owned like Barcelona and Madrid? I personally couldn't give a shit, mate. Honestly, I think it comes down to one thing. What is your motivation for owning a football club? Is it on-field success? And if it is, that's fine. If it's to make money, and sell it, then do one. You can have really rich owners. You can have one billionaire own you and be absolutely fine. So yeah, I think it comes down to that for me. Team news anyway. Let's just have a quick look at this because we are getting a little bit close to kickoff. Really good conversations going on at the start here, but let's bring it back to what we're here for, which is the fantastic Premier League. We're live again tomorrow night as well. What a game tomorrow night. What a game tonight. Man City host Aston Villa. Look at that. Top 4 race. It's a league game. Man City hold Aston Villa. Villa have won their last 5 games in a row. Spurs, if they win tonight, could get themselves up as high as 13th. 16th to 13th. What a move that would be for Spurs. Apparently that's worth 9 million. Every place you move up, it's 3 million. So, yeah, team news is Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Spence, Kulusevski, Bentancur, Sarr, Odegaard, Richarlison and Tell. Son is not on the bench. I don't know what the situation is with Son, but Maddison, Solanke, Brennan Johnson, Bissouma, Bergvall, all on the bench with Danzo as well. Still a very strong Spurs squad, isn't it? Nottingham Forest sells Toffolo, Murillo, Milenkovic, Williams, Anderson, Dominguez, Danilo, Gibbs-White, Alanga and Wood. is back up front. Hudson-Odoi is on the bench for them. Look, when you look at the two sides, you would say that Spurs should win this. But that's not the way the season's gone, is it? Having said that, I think it's also it's also worth mentioning that Forest have lost their last 2 in a row. At the worst possible time, they've started losing games. So whilst Newcastle have won 5 of their last 6, and Villa have won 5 of their last 6, Forest have lost 2 of their last 5. So they have, and 2 Premier League losses in a row. So they need to turn it around a little bit today. United should go for Sarr, says Daniel. And Liking Trash 3991 says Forest to finish 6th or 7th end of the season will be really tight between those teams. It is the top 5 race is fantastic. Obviously, I think we'd all prefer a better Premier League race and a relegation battle, but I think Liverpool are trajecting to get points that would win them the Premier League in the last 5 years. So it's not their fault that no one's gone with them. Banker draw this, says Noel. I'd like Forest to win, you know. I don't think it matters to Spurs. It's a bit like United and Wolves. I don't think it really matters to Spurs, but being the underdog up against what they're up against for the top 5 race, with Chelsea winning, Man City winning, Villa winning, I think I would like to see Forest win, especially because they've been in the top 5 since September. It feels a little bit harsh to them. I think there is an argument to say they'd be better off being in the Europa League. It would suit them better. And I understand that, but, you know, it would be brilliant for us if they win and just make this top 5 race even more interesting. Just the same as I'd like to see Villa win tomorrow at City. It would put a cat amongst the pigeons. Please do share the video if you're watching, by the way, and make sure you subscribe. We're about to start here. We are a minute late, but I will let you know. Romero's just doing up his laces. Based on Spurs and Man United having similar form, who do you think could win in the Europa League final, says Hector? I don't know. I mean, Man United have definitely got the more difficult game. I'd expect Spurs to beat Bodo Glimt. I'd say Athletic Club are the favourites and could probably beat both. But a Man United Spurs final, bloody hell, that would be hype, pressure, etc. Hello, I've just arrived. Will you be doing Man City versus Villa tomorrow, says Flores? Yes, did mention that. We will be, yeah, definitely. Jamie M says, what were your thoughts on both nights of WrestleMania, Mark? For me, it felt average. Some good matches, some bad matches, and definitely not as good as last year, says Jamie. Do you think Tottenham will sack Big Ange, says Jody? Not if they win the Europa League, I don't think they will. If they don't win it, I think they will. I think it comes down to that as an outside looking in. Hi, Mark. As a Barcelona fan, we keep getting linked to Son as Spurs might want to cash in. Would you see him as a good fit? Yeah, I think he'd do well. They're in here. Tell, good block. I think he would be a good fit at Barca. Yeah, Lona, yeah. After the news tonight, do you think we'll actually get Cunha? Please say yes, says Paddy. What, my honest opinion, I think we will get him. But this is my dream summer signing for Man United that's realistic. So I really hope that we do get him as well. Going back to WrestleMania, me and Seb watched the last night this morning. I felt that the Cena Rhodes game match was okay. It felt like it was lacking something. But obviously, I think Cena's body isn't capable anymore. And that's sad to see. And I think that impacts it. Richarlison, I forgot all about him, you know. Where's it? He had a bad injury, didn't he, Richarlison? What's my prediction tonight? I think Spurs might win. Will Forest miss out on the Champions League? Yes or no? 55% say yes and 45% say no. I tell you what, take that. Take that. That's quite close, isn't it? Spurs have always had a good squad. Spurs should be in a better position than they are. I mean, look, I live Man United. It's my team. I can sort of see why it's gone wrong. There's numerous reasons. I don't live Spurs, so I don't know why it's gone wrong. But from the outside looking in, I just think they're Spurs. You know, James Maddison sort of exemplifies the issue at Spurs in a player. I always think that if one player epitomises a team, I think Saka, Arsenal. I think Mo Salah, Liverpool. I think Kevin De Bruyne, Man City. You know, De Bruyne, when he's on, it's brilliant, but he's probably coming towards the end and can have quiet games. But I think Spurs, James Maddison. Occasionally, he looks like he could mix it up with the best, but the majority of the time, he goes missing. Who would be the player that epitomises Man United? This season, Onana. On his day, he can be world class, but often makes mistakes. I think it'd be unfair to say Bruno, because I think Bruno, if Bruno was a representative of Man United's form, oh, good shot from distance there, goes for a corner. Vicario had to deal with it. I mean, you wouldn't want to get beat by Gibbs White from there, but it was a shot from distance and low into the bottom corner. Vicario has to save it, does save it. But it's an early corner for Forest. Of course, Forest's system works really well if they can score first and defend. A lot of curl on that from Gibbs White, by the way. Good save, good shot. Corner to Forest. William says, my problem... Thanks for the super chat, by the way, William. My problem with Son leaving as a Spurs fan is that we might lose revenue because many fans, especially foreigners, are only there for Son. Oh, what a goal! What a goal, Anderson! Well, I tell you what, X-Files, Gillian Anderson would be proud of that. Because I tell you what, that was out of this world. The power he gets on that is incredible. It looks like Spurs have dealt with the corner. And I can't wait to see it again. It looks like they've dealt with the corner. It comes skimming out to the edge of the box and he smashes the crap out of that with his right foot. I thought he hit it with his left. He uses the outside of his right foot. There's a definite deflection, but it's the power. One little bit of deflection when someone hits it that hard. Yeah, it goes underneath. Yeah, it goes off the... I mean, you've just got to say this is a dream start for Forest. And it's an absolute pile drive. I mean, Vicario does get his fingers on it, but you can't stop them. And that's the dream start for Forest. I was just saying, if they can score first, their defence is more than capable of holding up, and then they've got the counter. Well, they've given themselves a great chance here, but there's a long way to go. There's a long way to go. Nest Space says that's awful goalkeeping. I don't think it is, mate. I think he's hit it so hard and the deflection's there that it's, you know, you've got to have reactions of a... something. But look, for the game, I think it's good. Early goal. My problem, I've done that with William. Thanks for the super chats, by the way. Appreciate that coming in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, share the video. Let's see if we can get up to 10,000. Ange is gone, surely, says Mohammed. No, because if Ange wins the Europa League, I think you know, we get this a lot with United. Like, it's very obvious that Amorim has to win the Europa League to rescue the season. And we lose to Wolves, and people go, oh, Amorim out. Amorim out. And you're like, well, no, not really. It's a disappointing result, but really it's all about the Europa League. And it's the same with Ange. Oh, Ange out, Ange out. But if Ange wins you the Europa League, you don't win trophies. You're allergic to trophies. So are Spurs going to sack the guy that wins their biggest trophy, arguably in their history? No. I mean, have Spurs won... I mean, they may well have won a UEFA Cup before, but they've never won a Premier League and they've never won a bloody Champions League. So it would be bigger than the bloody Rumbelows Cup or the Worthington Cup or whatever. I don't think you get sacked if you win the Europa League and put yourself in the Champions League. As much as it's been a bad season. Here's Alanga again. Still going, good defending. Ange always wins a trophy in his second season, says Lucas. I tell you what, though, if it was a Man United versus Spurs final and United lost, that would be... It's always disappointing to lose a final, but if you lose to a team that's allergic to trophies, that's even worse. Fog is coming, says Spurs have won 2 Europas in the past. I think you mean UEFA Cups. They haven't won the Europa League, have they, since it changed name? Forest looking very dangerous here on the break. Suleimani says there's a long way to go. Forest could score more. Wow, we've got a game on our hands here now. We knew these games were going to be big. Early goal for Forest. Absolute banger of a shot by... Anderson. Can they... I genuinely don't understand Spurs. They really do confuse me. I've got to be honest. They really do confuse me. I don't get it. Good cross. Oh, it's a goal. He might be offside. Chris Wood. This is a terrible start for Spurs. This is a terrible start for Spurs. They really are. They're worse than I thought. They're really bad. You know what Spurs remind me of because they wear white? Who remembers white dog shit from the 80s? I might not have seen it for a while, but they are shit and they do wear white. He's off. He's offside. They're lucky. They're lucky. They're really... Well, they are playing the offside trap. It's offside. It is offside. But I think Spurs putting their hands in the air... It's tight. That's the Spurs high line, though. Look, you've got to give credit. You've got to give credit. They were playing offside, but if he'd have timed it, taking a long side. What happened to automated offside? Come on, we've seen it. Nick P says, I'm on Spurs watch, trying to find what the dangers are if we happen to meet them. So far, they look as slow as we are in moving the ball around. Thanks, Nick P, for your super chat. And I hope Forest win, help United out, says Leon. And Archie says, what's the deal with the podcast? Sorry if I've missed something. We have missed a few weeks on the podcast. I can only apologise for that. I'm speaking to Will about it this week, so we'll keep you updated with what's happening with that. Let's do a rewatch of the weekend game, says Sachin. I don't know which game you're talking about. Yeah, it was offside. It stays 1-0. That could be a let-off for Spurs. Spence, of course, playing against the former club. Well, I don't think he actually was an official Forest player, was he? He got promoted with them, but I think he was on loan. It's a terrible start from Spurs. Can't believe there are people out there that think Liam Delap would be better than Victor Osman. Fucking hell. The hipsters need to grow up. Mark, go see Sinners in the cinema. Film of the year, says Paddy. There you go. Hope you and the missus are well, says Joshua Critchley. Thank you very much. Any players in the Forest squad you'd have at United to be Bear Merchant? At Forest, I like Murillo, the centre-back. I like Milinkovic, the centre-back. I mean, I don't know whether they'd work in an Amrim system, to be honest. Gibbs White would be worth a go. Obviously, Alanga would be worth a look at as well. This going to be a good game tonight. We spoke about Romano on Cunha about half an hour ago. If you are talking about Romano, that update, then I have nothing more to say about it because we spoke about it ages ago. Unless he's put something else out, which he hasn't for 35 minutes. The update is that Man United are discussing personal terms. There are other clubs involved, but good feelings after initial contacts. And he would be my dream signing for Manchester United. I would love it. Love it. But we are here for Spurs against Forest, and Spurs are losing here in the first 15 minutes. Forest have had a goal disallowed for offside as well. This is how, and look, it's very early, and Forest fans, I'm probably jinxing you. I will admit it. But we're here for Villa going to City tomorrow night. Chelsea won in stoppage time yesterday. Villa smashed Newcastle, who'd won the previous 5. This is how the top 5 looks as things stand. If Forest were to win, and they are at the moment, they go back to 3rd, pushing Chelsea outside the top 5, even though they won. And Villa would be down to 7th, even though they've won their last 5. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, Villa winning 5 in a row and still being 7th is just madness. But there's a long way to go in this. Robbo96, thanks for your super chat. He says, I think refs deliberately draw out the automated offsides because they don't like how it's made everything more efficient and takes the shine off them. Interesting, Robbo. And Sully says, in style of play, really that big of a criticism when you're winning games? Sully says, is style of play really that big of a criticism when you're winning games? I know people who aren't big on Forest because of how they play. I think if Arsenal were playing like Forest, the criticism would come. I think if Man United played like Forest, the criticism would come. I think the same would happen with, Liverpool. But Nottingham Forest were in a relegation battle last year. They were in the Championship for a very long time. They found a different way of playing that's made them very, very... Well, it's allowed them to get in! Oh, he's onside this time. Wood. What is going on at Spurs? It's 2-0. And he's definitely going to be onside. I tell you what, Cucurella in goal, he's gone wandering off. Where is he going? He's come to get a cat, not Cucurella. Not Cucurella. I'm getting him mixed up. What's his name in goal? What's his name in goal? I can't remember his bloody name. It may as well be bloody Cucurella. May as well be Cucurella in goal. He'd have more chance of catching it, Cucurella. His name's bloody Vicario. Cucurella. I'm thinking about Cudicini. They'd be better off with him inside. What's old Vicario doing here? He's punching thin air. He thinks he's bloody Superman. Look at him. He thinks he's bloody Superman. He may as well be. Well, it's 2-0. This is not going to be offside this time. 19th goal of the season. Well, I tell you what, this Spurs season's incredible, isn't it? It really is. They're 2-0 down. I tell you what, old Nuno, he'd be sat there against his former club going, I don't know what you were worried about. What a response. They mean business. I want Spurs to lose. Chelsea don't need Champions League, says Rub. And as you feeling the stress from knowing that you're going to play against Burnley in the new FIFA game, yes or no, do not need a 5 minutes answer. You just gave me as you gave me in the wedding question, says how Burnley back in the Premier League. They're not the Burnley of old, are they? They're not the Burnley of old. I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs came back into this, you know. It's got that sort of feeling to it. 2-0 in 18 minutes. 18 losses for Spurs it would be, says Dasney. Yeah, but going back to the style of play question, I don't think Forest's style of play should be criticised because Forest aren't a team that's been in the top 5 for years and has a reputation or a style of play that, you know, they need to adhere to. They might evolve it in the future, but this is just about... And you want a Premier... You know, I think in the Premier League, you do want different styles of play. You know, I didn't like Stoke's style of play, but there was something about when you played Stoke, you knew what you were going to get. Bolton under Allardyce was a real problem for Arsenal and Wenger. So I think that there's so many teams these days playing out from the back with their structured passing lanes. It's quite nice to see a team that, all right, they might not be easy on the eye at times, but it is quite nice to see a team that is doing something else. Thoughts on Spurs United Europa final, says Tapping Merchant. I mean, I don't know. As bad as Spurs are, United have been bad this year. I'd be nervous if we get there. Have you seen the Fabrizio Cunha post, says Dag? Yeah, we spoke about it at the start. I mean, I'd love him at United. Sketchy says Spurs are embarrassing. 10 goal plus 10 goal difference in 16th is shocking. Thank you very much for that. Also, Slow Sports News is here. Hope you're doing well, pal. He says, why is every pundit talking about United season and yet Spurs is below us? 2 teams in a semi-final position. Yeah, and remember it's season 2 for Ange. And I still look at that Spurs. I mean, look, I think you learn a lot from a team's bench. And... listen to this. This is Spurs bench. And they put a good team out as well. But listen to Spurs bench. And it's a strong team. Bergvall, Basuma, Danzo, Davies, Gray, Johnson, Maddison, Solanke, and then Kinski. That's a very strong bench. Constantine's just stepped in dog crap. Thanks for the update. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. You're very, very welcome. We are closing in on 320k. Get involved with That's Football. We're live again tomorrow night with Man City against Villa. Can Villa go and win at City? If they did, bloody hell, look at that league table. I feel like Villa have to, the way things are going here. Forest not dropping points so far. Chelsea would have been over the moon with that win yesterday, but if Forest can win here... You really do look. You do start to look at it and go, well, their next game. Obviously, they're not playing at the weekend because they're at Wembley. But their next game after that is Brentford at home, and then Palace away. You know, it's interesting. It's very interesting, this Premier League top 5 race. But Spurs are having a go here at the moment. They've got to. Not sure crosses into the box is going to be the way. Swish wants a bedroom tour. Joe wants to know if Will's being asked from the podcast. Why would you think that? Thoughts on Kevin Muscat, says Ross. I don't really have many. Which is worse, an Arna miss or Vicario one? That's a good cross. Headed over the bar. From Tell on the back post. Which Anana miss are you talking about? I mean, Vicario acting like Superman is hilarious, but which Anana one are you talking about? Nick P says Spurs watch is over. I might be calling it early, but they're 10 to 15% crapper than we are. Bonus. What is Spurs' problem though? Like, I don't watch enough of them to know, but I think it's this. I think they turn it on and off too much. I said this last season. You know, you got a chance of getting in the Champions League, but you deliberately lose to Man City, so Arsenal don't win the league. And I think when you've got players that are willing to turn it on and off, it's very different. It's very different. Very difficult to turn it on all the time. Some people say the high line's a problem. Well, it is, but both these goals haven't come from a high line, have they? Good tackle there. No, it's going to go back to the keeper. When's Maddison going to prove Keno wrong? Well, he's sat on the bench, isn't he? I mean, he scored one goal, shushed Roy Keane, and now he's sat on his arse on the bench. I mean, Roy Keane's probably sat there going, do I need to do another tweet? Do I need to mention it again? Spurs' problem is they concede silly goals that kill their mentality and momentum, says Baron. First super chat, says Archie. Realistic United window. I don't know what realistic is really. What I will say is if we can get Cunha, it'd be a bloody great start, and we need to have a great window. Chandler Chucky says, are you going to do both FA Cup semi-finals? I tell you what, being as you're giving me a super chat, and even though it's a Monday, I'm going to tell you what my plan is for the week. So tomorrow night, I'm doing Man City against Villa on here. Thursday night, I'm doing Stevenage against Birmingham. I'm not really. That was a free kick on the edge of the box, ref. I don't know how has he missed that? The standard of modern refereeing is incredible. How has he missed that foul on the edge of the box? Absolutely stunning. I mean, unless I see a dive here, which I don't think I am, how the hell has he missed that? Yeah, clearly. One, gets clipped, and two, Romero moves his foot into his chest. This ref's shit. Yeah, plan for the week. So, yeah, we'll do Man City against Villa tomorrow night. And then Saturday, I'm going to do Crystal Palace against Villa at 5:15. And then Sunday, we will do Bournemouth Man United and then come straight over to here for Forest against Man City. So that's my plan at the weekend. And then it's European week next week, isn't it? Spurs fan here. Biggest problem is they're all crap, says Scrog. Thanks, pal. It's mad. It's absolutely mad that United and Spurs have had absolute horrific Premier League seasons, and yet we could both be in the Champions League winning the Europa League. Well, we can't both do it, but one of us, we could be both in the final with that being the opportunity. Are you doing a Wednesday match? No, because it's Arsenal, isn't it? It's Arsenal against Palace, and it's such a meh game. Arsenal are going to finish second, and Palace will be thinking about the FA Cup. I don't see it as a watch along for me. I might change my mind, but I don't see it. Would you lose to stop Liverpool or City winning a title, says Tap-In Merchant? Not at the detriment of us getting in the Champions League. And that's what Spurs did. Spurs could have got in the Champions League. It's not like they were mid-table. No, I wouldn't. There was a question here. I need some advice. My boyfriend has hinted I lose weight for the summer. I don't like exercise and see so many beautiful women. What do I do? Says Jody, football is life. You get rid of him. You know, you get rid of him. Simple as that. You do you. Only you decide what you do with your fitness, not your boyfriend. End of. I need to check what... I'm sure I got asked another question, but... 98% that Sinner's got. Doogie says, leave him and live your life. There we go. Jack says, I've only just joined. What have I missed? I'll tell you what you've missed, mate. You've missed a very, very good start to the game for Forest and a probably a very familiar one for Spurs fans. 2 goals that should be preventable, but fair play to Forest, they're in front. Outside of Alisson and Raya, are there any top goalkeepers in the Prem? What's Martinez doing? Playing golf? Well, definitely Martinez. I think the goalkeeper at Forest's pretty good as well, to be fair. Spurs are like a luxury watch that doesn't tick. Expensive, shiny, and completely useless when it counts, says Shady. Very good, very good. What's your favourite dinosaur, says Sark? Triceratops. Always was as a kid. So, yeah, we'll stick with it. Dunny says, I've got a feeling United will be much better against Bilbao. I hope so. We're going to need to be. I can't believe Spurs are 2-0 down already. It's like mountain to climb, isn't it? Is that the one that flies? No, that's the pterodactyl, Ryan. I mean, I'm sounding like a bloody paleontologist here. A dinosaur expert. I did used to like them as a kid. But look, when I was a kid, there was no internet. There was only 4 channels. Everybody knew capital cities of every country. Everybody knew all the planets. And everybody knew all the dinosaurs. Like, I wasn't even stand out at my school. Everybody knew. Joe says, what's the best attribute Cunha would bring? I think his ability to hold the ball and move with the ball. Also his link-up play. Yeah, I just think he'd be brilliant in the attacking midfield position for United. Experience as well. Thanks everyone who's getting involved. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Appreciate it. Where is Son for Spurs tonight? Injured. I presume it's not a bad injury. I've not heard anything about it. Then again, Spurs with Spurs with Son isn't necessarily... He's played a lot of the season, has he? Hasn't he? Doesn't necessarily make them better. Spurs have got players warming up already. James Maddison's smiling. I mean, it's exactly the sort of player you want at your club, isn't it? Smiling in the warm-up when you're 2-0 down. It's a waster. This is the problem. They're just paid mercenaries, aren't they? It doesn't actually matter to them. I think that's the problem with Spurs. I don't think the players actually care enough. And some players are like that. They're multimillionaires. I just think Spurs have got the wrong profile of player. You look at how Brentford perform and Bournemouth perform and Forest perform. Yes, these will be rich players at Forest, but they're organised. They get it. They work hard. I think in the modern game, talent is great, but mentality is just so important, because when you're paying people big money, talented people, some of them, when they've got the big money, switch off. I think mentality is so important in the modern game. I wonder if they still teach the kids my very educated mother saying at school to know the position of the planets. Proper old school, says Nick P. I don't know. Storytime says, you helped me so much and I appreciate you. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you, Storytime. I feel like I can empathise with your situation as a Man United fan. It's the fans that suffer. Spurs on the attack. They're putting a lot of crosses into the box, but it's a bit like putting crosses into the box against Arsenal like Real Madrid. I don't really think it's going to cause Forest any problems if you're just going to plan to put crosses into the box. Most overrated famous goal in your opinion, and why, says Tapping Merchant. How did these mugs beat Frankfurt, says Bloody Bugger. Yeah, give Spurs credit. I didn't watch either of those games because it clashed with United. But I really did think Frankfurt would do for Spurs. So for them to get knocked out, you know, you probably have got to give them a bit of credit. Who do you reckon makes it through, Arsenal or PSG, says Ravi? Let's see what happens with this breakaway. Alanga's going to get there. Good tackle, Romero. I tell you what, Romero always looks borderline. You go into prison for assault. Every tackle has got that. Arsenal or PSG? I think so. I don't think you can predict it before. I think Arsenal have got a great chance. And I think that the way that Villa played in the second half just shows you that you can get at them. But I feel that Arsenal will need to do it in the first leg, because back in Paris, if the second leg was at the Emirates, I think Arsenal. First leg being at the Emirates just means the first game is going to be really key. Again, if Arsenal can go and take a 2-0 lead, I think they'll go through. Anything bigger than that, they'll definitely go through because they've got the defence. But they've got to score the goals. And I know they scored 3 against Real Madrid at the Emirates, but 2 of those were brilliant free kicks. I still think the goal scoring is the thing that Arsenal need to sort out, because they've got the defence and they've got the midfield. OTG says, do you think that Son has struggled without Kane? Well, I think you're always going to miss a player that's that quality and drops in deep and can get you assists. You're not going to replace Harry Kane very easily, and certainly Spurs haven't done it. And it is, but it is 2 seasons now. Another cross into the box. I can't believe how many crosses Spurs are putting into the box. But you know what? I think Forest are happy. If you look at the way Anderson is there, they're actually funneling them to put crosses in. Look at where Anderson runs there. He'll run narrow to stop the cross. I think Leeds have a chance to stay up, says Sonny. Do you? Well, hence I said Burnley are relegated already. Leeds, I have hope for, but I don't know why I think Leeds are any different to Burnley. I just feel that Leeds might have a chance. But then again, I thought Leicester might have a chance this year, and they were awful. Darren says, you're the best football chat and watch along. Don't ever keep up the good work. Thanks, pal. Thanks for tuning in. Leeds have got money. Well, if they've got money, they've got a chance. They've also got a bit of status, Leeds, haven't they? They can just... we were talking about this the other day, weren't we? It's, you know, if you try and get as many Premier League proven players into your spine as quickly as you can. You know, if you can get Tarkowski at Leeds, do it. If you can get Ross Barkley at Leeds, do it. James Ward-Prowse at Leeds, do it. I genuinely think another centre-back, another Premier League proven centre-back that's not going to be William Saliba, you know. Ben Mee, someone like that. Ben Mee, Tarkowski, Ward-Prowse, Ross Barkley. Sign those 4 players. You've just given yourself a great chance of staying up straight away. You need a striker, though, as well. I don't know. I mean, Liam Delap would be perfect for Leeds, but he wants something bigger. Yeah, Burnley won't be getting Ben Mee. They'll be getting Ben Mee over, unfortunately. Forest on the break again. Terrible pass. What were your thoughts on WrestleMania, says Leander? I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. Which was a little bit disappointing because I thought Royal Rumble was great and I think it's had some good Monday Night Raws this year, but I thought WrestleMania was a bit... Troy Hudson, thank you very much for your super chat. Jack says, I'm just tuning in now. Have you seen that Fabrizio has confirmed the news about Cunha? I have, Jack. It's very exciting. Oh, here we go. Oh, what a miss. Tell you what. That was shit from Tell. Constantine, bad miss. Constantine says, who is the greatest English midfielder to ever play the game for club and country? I don't think Gerrard was that good for England. I don't think Lampard was that good for England. I don't think Scholes was that good for England. So David Beckham. Boom. See you later. That's why I'm the best. That's why this is the best. See you later. Gascoigne was good. Gascoigne was good. No, I'm not saying Beckham's better than Scholes. I'm saying, did Scholes perform for England? No, not enough. Did Lampard perform for England? No, not enough. Did Gerrard? No, not enough. But David Beckham did. And if you want to go pre-Premier League, I do agree with Gascoigne as well. Don't ask me about Sir Bobby Charlton. I'm not that old. Thanks for all your super chats, by the way. Please do subscribe. We've got 5 minutes to go to half-time here, and Spurs are 2-0 down. Oh my God, what's going on here on the back post? Should have been 2-0. Should have been 2-1. Cross comes in. Richarlison. It's a great defensive header. If he was playing centre-back, that's brilliant. Anthony's scored for Betis, apparently. Troy Hudson says, I'd love a book recommendation, but it can't be your book. Well, it is available on Amazon as audio and physical. Football According to Goldbridge. Very good book. But if you want a different book to read, depends what you want. I mean, I'm a culture vulture. So I think The Beach is a very good book to read if you are looking ahead to the summer with some deeper meaning, but an interesting story. It's much better than the film. And Romero finally gets booked. What a surprise. And American Psycho is an incredible book, but might just be a little bit too out there. I mean, I remember reading that book, and for those few weeks I was reading it, it takes you to very dark places. But I think I think it's a good book to read. Again, better than the film. Anthony scored with his right foot, says Scooby-Doo. Evening, Mark. If we get Cunha, must we pay the release clause in full or instalments? Says Delusion Unicorn. I mean, this is a great question. So if you look at someone like Osman, who has a release clause of 62 million, or you look at someone like, I don't know, any player that's got a release clause, if you pay 62 million to Napoli for the release clause, they demand it up front. That tends to be how it works. Richarlison heads it wide. However, what you can do is what some clubs do, and United did this with Xerxes. His release clause was 34 million, but we paid 36. And the reason we played 36 was so that we could spread it out over 5 years. So you could say to Wolves, we'll give you 65 if we can pay you 15 over 5 years. Or whatever it works out to be. So you probably pay a little bit more than the release clause to be able to do it in installments. Murillo is hobbling here for Forest. They can't afford to lose a player like that. And that's going to be Forest's problem as well. We saw what happened when they didn't have Wood. They can't afford to lose players. He's still hobbling. Richarlison is nothing since he left Everton. I forgot he played for Spurs. What are the positive attributes that Belieber would bring to United? Please read this, Mark, says Cool Dude. Well, we're not in for Belieber for a start, so I'm talking hypothetically here. But I think the positive attributes of someone like Belieber, and I must admit, I haven't really watched a lot of Brighton this calendar year. But from what I've seen of him, I think he's a carrier of the ball, which is a system breaker, as we know, with the likes of Morgan Rogers. But he also does it from a deeper position. And the aggression in the tackle, the energy, the athleticism. I mean, effectively, we should never really liken players to other players. But I think he's a Casido-like player with the ability to dribble better, from what I've seen. But look, it doesn't always work out like that, does it? I think Casido's been a good signing for Chelsea at a very expensive price. But I thought Basuma was going to be a fantastic signing for Spurs. And I think it was a bullet dodged by a lot of clubs. I know Liverpool fans talk about Lavia and go, we were going for him, and what a dodged bullet that was, and we got Gravenberch instead. I think with Basuma, you could look at that the same, because I wanted him at Man United. A duel breakouts between the Darth Vader and Voldemort. Who's winning? Having a heated debate at the moment, says Jace. I will do that as a poll for you. Not what I thought I'd be doing on a football watch along, but either or in a fight, Darth Vader or Voldemort. I suppose it depends whether Darth Vader can deal with magic. Because if it comes down to close combat, Voldemort's getting sliced up like a pepperami, isn't he? Amarin Red says, how has the game quality level been so far? I mean, look, very good, actually. I think, obviously, Forest have their critics because of how they play. But it means Spurs have got to go for it. So it has been a better game than you'd think. Funnily enough, I think if Spurs scored first, it'd be a harder game to watch. I've seen Forest a few times. They did it against United a few weeks ago. When they score early, they're a bloody hard team to break down. When they've got 2 goals early, I think it makes it very difficult. But what I will say is, the Villa Forest game a couple of weeks ago, I think Villa were brilliant first half, but Forest really went for it second half. I thought they were a bit unlucky. I don't know what happened in the Everton game. I didn't watch that, but Forest have lost their last 2 games, haven't they? Villa and Everton. And I felt that, I think against Villa, they were really unlucky in the second half. And I was surprised that they lost to Everton, but then Everton are that sort of team, aren't they? They're capable. Right, half time. And it's 2-0 here to Nottingham Forest. And that's how the league table looks at the moment, of course. Forest would be sitting pretty with 5 games to go on 60 points. Admittedly, there'd be only 3 points ahead of 7th, but it puts them right back amongst it where they want to be. Even Arsenal, you know, I was talking to Robbie this morning. Even Arsenal sort of needed to go on a bit of a... I mean, I was looking at... Arsenal are 6 points ahead in second place and have been there all season. But Arsenal haven't won a game Arsenal haven't lost a game in their last 6. They've won 3 of their last 5. So, and they've almost needed to do that, Arsenal, because if they'd slipped up once around those sort of Champions League games, they'd be right in it themselves as well. I mean, it just shows you the form that the teams are in at the moment. Newcastle have won 5 out of 6. Forest have won 3 out of 5. And if they win this today, you know, obviously that would be 4 out of 6. Man City are unbeaten in their last 5 with 3 wins. Chelsea have got 3 wins in their last 6. And Villa have won their last 5. So they're all really in very, very good form. When you look at Bournemouth, who've lost 4 of their last 6. Brighton haven't won in their last 5. Brentford have only won 1 in their last 4. Fulham have lost 3 of their last 4 as well. And Bournemouth have got 1 win in 6. So those Villa, Chelsea, Man City, Newcastle and Forest and Arsenal have gone really, really consistent in the last few weeks. And they've had to. And you can sort of see why in their efforts to get into the top 5. Let's have a look at the stats here at half-time as well. So 67% possession for Spurs is not surprising. 10 shots, of which 2 have been on target. I always find this fascinating. There's people who make a living out of stats. And this is why the eye test will always defeat the stat test, because the score is 2-0 to the team on the right. And yet the team on the left have had way more passes, 91% pass accuracy, 67% possession, 10 shots to 3, 3 corners to 1, and they're losing 2-0. And they deserve to be losing 2-0. Stats can be misleading. Vader is beating Voldemort 67% to 33%. Don't ask. We'll just close that off. There we go. Who needs Osman more, United or Chelsea, says Fidget. Well, they both do. They both do. I'd say Chelsea have got better attacking options than Man United at the moment, but they both do. Was at the Wolves game yesterday, says Jack Deegan, which was my second ever game travelling from Ireland. Despite it being a pointless game, the crowd was unreal. I feel sorry for a lot of people. I mean, look, it happens, but there's a lot of people who, you know, Man United have a lot of turnover of tourists. And when I say tourists, like people who are turning up for their first time, etc. That's just the nature of having a 75,000 capacity stadium. There's a lot of season ticket holders, but there's a lot of people who are turning up for their first games. It's always been like that. I think this is probably one of the worst seasons ever to pick a home game to be your first game for Man United. I mean, I took my lad Seb to his first game this season, and it's been a bloody minefield when you think about it. I mean, I was very lucky that we went to Brentford at home, and we were 1-0 down at half time, but we won second half 2-1. I don't know what the percentage of Man United winning their home Premier League games is this season, but it hasn't It's not been great at all. And I think that's something that sometimes does get forgotten, is the amount of people who are spending good money and travelling a long way sometimes to watch these football clubs. Same with Spurs tonight. You know, it's been a bad season. I mean, Man United's home form, they're 14th. They've only won 6 games at home this season out of 17. So if you're going to a Man United home game, the chances of you seeing Man United win is about 30%. Now, you contrast that with Liverpool, and it's over 85%. So, yeah, it's pretty crap. Yeah, Man United's home record is disgusting. 17 games, and we're 14th in the league with only 6 wins and a -5 goal difference. Crazy. But look, as we were saying, we're back to what we're talking about here. Kuna going to cook in the Man United shirt. Hope so, Christoph. A bit of a Spursy performance from the home team, if you ask me, says Alex, who's an Arsenal fan. Was all the Wolves sorry, this is going to be a long summer and next season when every team's talking about Liverpool winning the Corona season, and now it will be the referee season. How would you deal with it, says Howder. How would I deal with what? I mean, I think Liverpool are a very worthy champion. They're trajecting at about 90 points, which would have them in a title race, winning the title for most of the last 5 years. I think there's been a drop-off from Man City and Arsenal this year that has allowed Liverpool to do what they've done. It's well documented why Arsenal have dropped off, because they still haven't brought that striker in. Man City, I mean, I think there's a longer story. Is it just about Rodri? But hopefully next season we'll see Arsenal bring a striker in, and we'll probably see Man City, you know, rebuild. Liverpool with their first summer transfer window. I think those 3 will be the teams that are favourites to win the league. I don't think anybody joins them. I can't see anybody joining them next year. But, you know. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Trap says, Super League, yes or no, Paul? Absolutely not. We're not doing that, you troll. Yeah, we're not interested in that. Do you think we could finish Spurs off in the final? Says Hypo. I think when you're looking at Spurs and Man United, they've had really bad seasons. I mean, you know, slow sports news. But it's like this game here tonight. If Spurs score first, Forest have got to chase the game. They're nervous. They're not in the top 5 at the moment. And it's a different game. In this case, Forest score 2 goals early. Spurs doubt themselves like they have all season. Forest focus in, and the confidence is with them. So if you put Spurs and Man United in the Europa League final, and that's not a foregone conclusion, I think it does come down to who gets the set piece deflection first to put themselves 1-0 up. I think both teams are so delicate that I couldn't tell you who was going to win between Spurs and Man United in a neutral ground in Spain for the Europa League final. Because, I mean, look, the Champions League is better than the Europa League, but you put Man United against Spurs in a Europa League final where both teams have had horrendously shit Premier League seasons. But if you win the Europa League final, you're in the Champions League and you got 90 million quid. But if you don't win it, you're not in Europe. You know, there's a Europa League trophy there, but come on. There's also 90 million quid and the Champions League. That game becomes absolutely more than a game of football. Like, you can't lose that game. Look, I want Man United to be in it. I really do. We've got a really tough semi-final, but yeah. What football's taught me over the last 12 years is there's no such thing as a fairy tale. The nightmare could happen. Saw Harry Gray debut for Leeds. Another from the Gray family. Must be the 5th or 6th. Is there any legendary football families you can think of? Says Fahad. Get in the chat. Tell me. Name as many Premier League era player managers, says Nev32. Lampard. Gerrard. Player managers. Oh, no, player managers, not players who became managers. Okay, player managers. Bloody hell. Premier League. Trevor Francis probably was at Sheffield Wednesday. I think the Premier League had started then. Alan Shearer, did he do it? Ruud Gullit at Chelsea. Brian Robson at Middlesbrough. I think Glenn Hoddle did it at Chelsea as well. I want to say Stuart Pearce, but I think he might have retired before he did football. It's not something you get very often. Ryan Giggs, was he still playing when he did it for a short term at Man United as well? It's something that used to happen a lot more in the early 90s than it did now. Do you see Cunha as a 9 or a 10 at United? Definitely a 10, Siraj. I wouldn't want to buy him as a 9. Abraham says, I watched the Man United game yesterday, and if United would have had a lamppost up front, it would have scored a hat-trick. But absolutely amazed by the new young left-back, Amas, says Abraham. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate the super chats that have come in. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget, we're doing Man City against Villa tomorrow night as well. Big, big game. Big, big game. What made you wear glasses, says Anzi? I couldn't see properly, basically. Favourite Manchester band? Oasis is a cop-out, but that's my truth, Ravi. I can't help the fact that I loved Oasis when I was like 15. I can't help that. I wish it wasn't Oasis, but it is. Apparently there's a new update from Fabrizio Romano. In the last 48 hours, Man United had fresh contacts with the agents of Cunha. The feeling between Amrim and Cunha is excellent. There was some sort of great connection between United, Amrim and Cunha. There we go. Thank you very much for drawing my attention to that. It's sounding good. Sounding very good. I'd love him at United. If Man United lose, would you rather a Spurs or Bilbao win? Says Maka. Bilbao. I think so, yeah. Are you going to do a Pope funeral watch along, says Jim Radcliffe? Mate, you know what you're saying? A lot of people are going to take as comedy. But let me just throw this back to you. When the Queen died, a lot of Premier League games got cancelled. And people were genuinely saying, can you do a funeral watch along? Because it'll go on for hours and it'll be quite a good accompaniment. To the point where I did think about doing it. Because it was a long thing. But then I just thought, no, people would take it the wrong way. You can't be doing either ors on something like that. Who was the better monarch? Queen Elizabeth II or Queen Elizabeth I? Best Manchester band, The Smiths by far, says Mark Holder. I mean, I love the Stone Roses. Yeah. Start, bench, sell. De Ligt, Milinkovic or Konza? I'll start De Ligt. I'll bench Milinkovic and I'll sell Konza. But they're all very good, Liam. All very good. Aaron Scott says, if United are as skint as Sir Jim says, where is the money for Cunha coming from? I would imagine, it's a very good question, actually. And it's unlike Man United to do it, because Man United have always said they want to sell to buy. They want the money in before they put the money out. But I would imagine if you could go to Wolves and say the release clause is 62, we'll give you 65, but we'll spread it out over 5 years. So it's about 12.5 million first year, second year, etc. That's probably what they would do, in which case you only need 12.5 million in the first year. And remember, Man United owe £90 million this summer in transfer deals like that, where it's second, third year payment on other players. What are your thoughts? Oh, yeah, Shriman, I can't read that. It's rude. Would you do live watch-alongs at Old Trafford, says Shaddy? Yes, I would. I love doing the Charlton one. Nick P says, just to warn the chuff monsters, you get to roughly 42 and suddenly your eyes need glasses to be able to look at your phone. It's a harsh reality, says Nick P. Nick, it's so true. I literally cannot read the side of a medicine bottle or a, cream or anything like that without glasses now. Paul Charlton, thank you very much for your super chat. There's a few subs going on here. Spurs have obviously made some. Alanga's going off for Marato, which is strange because Alanga's been doing well for Forest, so I wonder if that's an injury. That could be significant. That could shift the game. Right, let's get ready for the second half here. Come on, ref. 2-0 to Forest at half-time. There we go. Do you think the Championship is more entertaining than the Premier League? Also, will you do Championship watch-alongs, says Scytho? Absolutely not. On both. I've done a playoff Champions League final on before, and hardly anybody watches it. Burnley and Leeds are back, says Vamos. Apparently there's a fire in the stadium, says Shiv. Bladinator says, who remembers when Mark thought Onana would be good at Man United? Yeah, but who remembers when Mark didn't want Onana at Man United because he wanted to keep De Gea? I think we'll stick to that one, mate. There was an acceptance that when De Gea went, that we got Onana, and I thought he was a good goalkeeper, but I didn't want it to happen. Here's Tell down the left-hand side. They could do with a goal early, Spurs, and they're not going to score with that. Murillo comes across and clears it. No VAR again. Fire alarm. What? There's a fire at Stockley Park. Bloody hell. Couldn't be more Prats, could they? I mean, why have you not... Can I just come up with an idea here, right? The biggest league in the world, with the biggest revenue in the world, runs its VAR from Stockley Park. What if there's a fire alarm? Let's have a backup room. No, don't do that. I mean, these people are prats. They're absolute prats. Why would you not have a backup room? You know? Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Spurs got a chance to whip a cross in here. Similar position from where Forest scored, but easily dealt with. Spurs putting crosses into the box for another 45 minutes is not going to work. Need to keep it on the ground. Keep it on the ground. Are you going to do pre-season watch-along, says Leon? We always do for United Stand, yeah. Just deciding what we're going to do with the Club World Cup at the moment. So, subs at half-time. Let me show you the Spurs team. So, as you can see, they have made subs. 2 subs to them. Very interesting subs for Spurs as well. I mean, can we get a little bit more info on this? Van der Ven and Romero both off. Any updates on that? It's very strange to take them off tactically. Very, very strange. Maybe because Romero's on a yellow card. And Forest took off Elanga for Manato. But that's very, very strange. If someone can explain that to me, please do. Well, if they're injured again, that's not good for their Europa League hopes, is it? Robbo says, I'm no fan of VAR, but the fire could have spread to the backup room. No, you have a backup room in a different place, mate. I don't mean like there's one room here and there's one room there. You have a backup room. Mitchell says, when's the podcast back? Hopefully be able to tell you that this week. The Bee Gees are from Manchester, says Mark Holder. The Bee Gees. Anyway, cross coming in from Spurs here. And Forest clear it again. What are your general feelings on Van der Beek, says random guy. Really wanted him to do well. I remember we used to have Fabrizio Romano on the United stand every week. I remember us talking about Van der Beek before he came to Man United. So that's how long ago this was. And we were both just saying what a good player he was at Ajax and how it would be great if he came to Man United. So when it happened, I was really hopeful. But obviously, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. Ravi says, City in the Europa League would heal me. Spurs just looking for a penalty here. No, not enough. No. And not unless the referee gives it first time. Not enough for me. Strong defending by Milenkovic. Would you Man United Spurs... Sorry, Paul Charlton says, would Man United versus Spurs devalue the Europa League? Why? Ultimately, if both teams get to the final of a tournament that had an 8-fixture league system and a long knockout system, how can it devalue the tournament? They're the best 2 teams in the tournament if they get to the final. That's how it works, isn't it? That's meritocracy. I'd love to see City in the Europa League, Ravi, but I don't think so. I mean, let's go back to that league table. A lot of people would love to see Man City not in the top 5, but I had Man City winning the league at the start of the season. So to take them out of the top 5 would be incredible. I just don't think that they will fall out of it. And I don't think they should fall out of it. I mean, contextually, Man City not finishing in the top 5 would be, I don't know, it would be like Liverpool not finishing in the top 10. It's just like, it shouldn't happen. Spurs are pushing here, but they just can't get the goal to get the crowd going. Why? When are you replacing the board that fell? It won't fall now, Shade. It's got a bloody screw in it. More than one. It's had more screws than a bloody porn star. City in the Europa League. Done that one from Ravi. Vincent says, I'd love Sunderland back in the Premier League. I love their ground. Would also like to see Lampard get promoted with Coventry. I vote playoff final watch along. We sometimes do one, Vincent, so we'll see what happens with that. With regards to the Championship, if you're not aware, this is That's Football. And today, Burnley and Leeds have been promoted. Sheffield United will be the favourite to go up from the playoff because they're 10 points clear of 4th place Sunderland. But it will be Sheffield United, Sunderland definitely in the playoffs. Bristol and... Cool, good shot. Gibbs White, just wide. Bristol and Coventry are in 5th and 6th at the moment, but they're not home and hosed. Middlesbrough and Millwall still do have a chance. Albeit Bristol City only need 3 points from their last 2 games to confirm a playoff position. Blackburn have got a slim chance, but I'd say it'll probably be Bristol and Coventry. I mean, Bristol come up, they're going straight back down, but we've never had a Bristol club in the Premier League. Coventry, if they come up, probably going to go straight back down. Same for Sunderland and same for Sheffield United, to be fair. Hudson-Odoi is going to come on for Forest. Thanks everyone who's been choosing in. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Appreciate that. We're going to do Man City against Villa tomorrow night. I feel like Villa have to win that, but it's a tough place to go and get a result. Although City aren't the team they used to be. Borough play Coventry last game of the season. Ooh, that'll be a big one, Hugh. Jacob says, National League South, any of the top 6 could win it with 1 game to play. Bloody hell. That's quite big as well, because at that level, getting into the National League itself... William Parker says, does Forest getting into the Champions League, does that show that style of football isn't everything? We were talking about it in the first half, mate. Like, I remember Stoke City, and as much as they had the piss taken out of them, it was quite a novelty. It was quite nice. Bolton with Allardyce. I mean, look, is there any Premier League clubs you can think of with styles of play that were very distinctive and probably didn't get, you know, a lot of praise? I think having... Look, I think the Premier League at the moment doesn't have enough identity. I mean, people take the piss out of Ange, but at least he's got a distinctive high line. You know, Nuno's got a very distinctive style of play. I mean, it must be so frustrating for Southampton and Ipswich to know that you're trying to play out from the back against teams that do it better than you because your manager has decided that he's going to stubbornly stick to their principles. I'd actually rather go, you know what, maybe stick to your principles when you're in the Championship. But in the Premier League, your principles aren't going to work because you haven't actually got a fucking chance of staying up, playing out from the back against teams that are used to it. Like you've got to come into the Premier League with a different strategy. Steve Bruce at Newcastle, says Calvin. Tapping Merchant says, Goodison is an awful stadium. Away end is dreadful. But I'm going to miss it, mate. I'm really going to miss it, to be honest. It's always been my favourite away. And I'm going to miss it. I think if you're going to have a style of play, you need the players to suit it. And I think obviously Nuno's come in here and look at Brentford. Brentford have got a style of play and it works for them. Liverpool winning it on Wednesday, says Stefan. No, Arsenal will beat Palace. When can Liverpool win it? When can Liverpool win it? This weekend? I take it they're 1 win away by the sounds of it. So Liverpool are 13 points ahead of Arsenal, and there are 5 games to go. So 1 more win for Liverpool, or if Arsenal draw, no, they still need Liverpool, unless Arsenal lose. Arsenal won't lose. So win it at home against Spurs on Sunday. See, Chelsea are very lucky. They're playing Liverpool the game after that at Stamford Bridge. So it should be nice and easy for, well, not easy, but it gives Chelsea a bit of a chance, doesn't it? Should Amrim stick to his principles, says John? Yeah, because I think if you get promoted, like Russell Martin did with Southampton or McKenna did with Ipswich, you're never going to get the quality of player good enough to play your system and stay in the Premier League. Whereas if you're Ruben Amorim coming into Manchester United, or you're Mikel Arteta going into Arsenal, or you're Jurgen Klopp going into Liverpool, or you're, I'm trying to think of another example in the last sort of 5 years, you would expect with clubs of that status that you will be given, at least 2, 3, 4, sometimes £500 million to build your team. So that's why Man United have brought Amorim in. Very different style of play to what Ten Hag was, but they're clearly going to give him the players, or that plan is to give him the players. But Southampton, they're not going to give him the players to stay in the league, are they? So, I know, and also your responsibility is to Southampton Football Club. Southampton didn't bring Russell Martin in to play out from the back in the Premier League. I think you've got to adapt. What thoughts on Luton from going to from Premier League to League One? I don't understand that, TGB, because I thought Luton were a good side in the Premier League. I mean, massively over-promoted and ultimately did better than Burnley and Sheffield United. But to go down from the Championship, is madness. Lucy Swan says, I don't get the maths. If Arsenal win all games left, they'd have 84 points. So surely Liverpool need to win 2 games to claim the title. Very, very easy. Liverpool are 13 points ahead and there's 5 games to go. So Arsenal can only get 15 points. So Liverpool just need to win 1 more game, because then that would be a 16-point gap, wouldn't it? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Fabrizio confirmed the Kuna story, says Joseph. Slow Sports News, but thank you. Corner to Spurs here. Forest are cruising here at the moment. How do you super chat? You click the $sign! Off the line. Oh my God. That clearance should be studied. That was in. Forest have just cleared it off the line. That is absolutely incredible. And it must have been off the line. GDS, please. Is it over the line? Look at the white bit. I mean, oh, that is incredible. That is brilliant. That is not over the line. You can see it's a great header by Kulusevski, and he thinks he's scored. He's flicked it on the front post. It's gone over the goalkeeper. But big shout out to the guy on the line who does his job. What a clearance that is. Incredible. Brilliant. Mainstream media don't go at Ange the same way as Amorim. Why, says Mrs. Stone. Because we're Manchester United. That's why. Man United are a bigger club than Spurs, aren't they? Yellow card for Gibbs White. Do anything fun today? I'm in a bit of a chocolate hangover today. I honestly have ate too much chocolate. I got a Yorkie. Easter egg. I didn't even know they still did Yorkie. Can you buy a Yorkie bar? I didn't even know you could. Is it just for Easter? I didn't even know they did Yorkie anymore. So I got a Yorkie Easter egg yesterday from the mother-in-law, which was fantastic. I enjoyed that. And then I had the crunchy one from yesterday. So I've had quite a lot of chocolate today. But it is Easter. It's still Easter. It's bank holiday, isn't it? I only imagine what Anfield will look like on Sunday, says Stefan. You can watch it if you want. I won't even be imagining it, and I definitely won't be watching it. I'll be watching the FA Cup and Bournemouth United. Oh, remember that? The advert for Yorkie used to be just for men, didn't it? Not for girls. You couldn't do that now. Definitely couldn't do that now. United beat Deport Rio 3-0. Good. What a save by Sells. Richarlison should have scored. It was a bit fortuitous, to be fair. Deflected into the path of Richarlison in the box, but Sells was out quick, made himself big, and made a big save. Mark Holder says, how was your lamb yesterday? I had mine today. It was lovely. Yeah, I don't, if I'm down like a pub having a Sunday lunch and they give you the menu and it's got pork, lamb, chicken or beef, I'm never going to have the lamb. But I've got to be honest, it was a lovely, lovely leg of lamb for dinner yesterday, which I think is like, it's a bit like turkey at Easter, isn't it? It was very nice. Nuno or Emery? Emery. I mean, I'll run that as a poll. I'm here, but yeah. You know what the funny thing is? Nuno was at Spurs and they didn't give him 3 months. They gave him no time, did they? Taz says lamb's more sustainable for the environment. What, than chicken? Finally, another Bulgarian in the Prem next season, says Stefan. City says Bristol are going to get promoted. I've never eaten lamb. Is it any good? I like it in a kebab. That's my favourite. Right, if Spurs could get one back, it might be an edgy last 20 minutes here, but I mean, Spurs have had chances. There's no doubt about that. That league table's looking good at the moment. Oh, shots, 11 since the Wood goal to 1. That's no surprise, though. I mean, those stats, I wouldn't even take notice of those. That's just Forest altogether. They get the goal and then they defend well. The fact that Maddison can't get a start for a struggling Spurs team is mad, though, isn't it? A good question here from Kenneth. He says, is it me or the hype of Liverpool winning the league isn't getting the same as Man United or Arsenal in the Europa or Champions League? I just think that's trends, mate. I think that's just recency bias, you know. Liverpool, I mean, like, when did I do that video that Liverpool have won the league? First week of December? And whilst even Liverpool fans were saying shut up, ultimately I got proved right. Ooh. There's surely a foul, ref. This ref's a bit weird. I mean, Wood's not the quickest, but he still does get fouled. Oh, no. Davies got a kick on it, to be fair. Yeah, so I think what Liverpool have done is fantastic for them. But obviously people are more focused on the Champions League and the Europa League because there's genuine jeopardy. Whereas with the title race, it can happen sometimes. You know, people have felt like it was over for a long time. But for the people of Liverpool who support Liverpool, well, not people of Liverpool because some support Everton, but for Liverpool fans, it's still a huge achievement. I just don't think you're going to get a hell of a lot of hype beyond your fan base. So I don't think that'll bother them, though. Jado says, I saw you at Everyman. I walked around the corner. Yep. You probably did. We're not playing our best team. It's the people who say they see me in bloody Tesco in, like, North London who are bullshitters. Good defending again. Corner to Spurs. Off the Post says, as a Liverpool fan, I think it's a disgrace what has become of your club. Rivalry aside, the Premier League needs a good United team. It's shameful. Thank you very much, mate. I would say the same about Liverpool, actually. I know a lot of people say about rivalries, oh, I'd love to see them relegated. I would hate Liverpool in the Championship. It would be funny for a bit, but then when you weren't in the Premier League and we didn't get to play you, I think that's one of the things you look for in the fixture list, isn't it? When are we playing Liverpool at home and away? Pato says, I saw you on top of my mum last night. Definitely didn't. Paz says, when does any other fan base... Ooh, shot wide. Paz says, when does any other fan base big up a title win anyway? Apart from the fans involved. Leicester. Leicester winning the league. I think a lot of people got involved in that. But also, I remember when Arsenal won the league against Liverpool in 89. You know, everyone was involved in that because it went to the wire. When Man United won the league in 99, that went to the final day as well. So you can't dictate that. Like, you can't dictate that. Some great teams win the Premier League in early March, early April. Some teams win it on the final day, and that more people are involved in it then. I mean, look at relegation. It's a load of shite. If I could pick a coach to get my team out of trouble towards the end of a Premier League season, I would pick Emery, says Suleimani. It wasn't Jeff Thomas, Ranko, it was Michael Thomas. Jeff Thomas was a footballer, but he had nothing to do with Arsenal winning the league at Anfield. I mean, that was, I was talking about this the other day, absolutely incredible, right? So Liverpool and Arsenal were going for the title. I was very young at the time. I thought it was a playoff game. It wasn't. I thought they'd finished on the same points and it was a playoff game. It wasn't. It was final game of the season. And even now I'll get this wrong. So it was final game of the season and it just so happened that Arsenal were playing at Anfield. And Arsenal were 3 points behind Liverpool and needed to win to level up with Liverpool, but also win by 2 goals. If they won by 1 goal, Liverpool still won the league. We will never have that again. We'll never have that again. You know, 2 teams going for the title play each other on the last day, but also one of the teams has got to win to finish on the same points, but then it's got to win by 2 to have the better goal difference. I mean, and I remember for years, I thought it was like a playoff. I didn't realise. It's just incredible. Imagine that now. Imagine if Arsenal had to go to Liverpool and even if they won 1-0 or by 1 goal, Liverpool still won the league. And then on top of that, it's 1-0 going into stoppage time and Michael Thomas scores for Arsenal virtually with the last kick. Yeah, that happened. You couldn't write it. And Michael Thomas then signed for Liverpool 3 years later. But you'll never get that again. I mean, you talk about coincidence or, you know, the planets aligning. Klopp, Ancelotti or Emery, says Amir. Ancelotti. I think what Ancelotti's achieved in his career across multiple leagues is incredible. Yeah. Spurs with a cross to the back post. Goes for a goal kick. 15 minutes to go. Speaking of playoff, Mark, have you seen the Serie A? If Napoli and Inter finish on the same points, it goes to a playoff game no matter the goal difference. I think that's a good idea. The Premier League should write that in stone. Like, if teams finish on the same points, you should have a playoff game. Aguero would never have fucking happened. Best Man United goal you've ever seen live, says Mood Maniac. I would say the Mark Robins goal at the City Ground. I was at that game in 90. I thought it was 89, but it was 90 because it was the third. It would have been January of 90. It was the first live Man United goal I saw. I went to the... Ooh. I always thought my first game at Man United was 89, but it's not. It's clearly 88. No, 89. It was 89 because... Yeah, my first game, I got mixed up. 90 was... third round FA Cup, City Ground, Mark Robins header was my first live Man United goal I saw. 89, April, FA Cup quarter-final was the first live Man United game I saw at Old Trafford. I think the best. It doesn't work with everything. The first time isn't always the best. It can be quite disappointing, but I think you always remember your first. Speaking of playoff, Mark, have you seen... Yeah, I've done that from Agar. This is looking like a very good 3 points for Forest here. I've got to say, I did win, lose or draw with Robbie, and I think we both went with the Forest win, but there was a part of me thought that Spurs might actually be better than they are. They're not. Either or, Howe or Emery. Emery, Robbo. Emery's beaten Nuno as well. I think actually we had one last week. Thanks to Move Maniac, by the way. We had one last week, which was Emery or Arteta. And I said Arteta, but it was close. I don't think you can put Emery into either ors with Nuno or Eddie Howe. Like, definitely Emery in those situations. Here's Hudson-Odoi. Skips past 2. But Spurs will win it back. James says, have you seen the National South table? 3 points separate the top 6. I haven't, but somebody was mentioning it before. You've got me sort of wanting to have a look at it now. Sorry, National League South. There we go. So Truro have got 86 points. They're top. Torquay have got 86 points in second. Eastbourne Borough are 85. Worthing are 85. And then Boreham Wood are 83. What a save. What a save by Sells. Man of the match again. Gotta be up there for team of the season, hasn't he? Every time I watch them, he's brilliant. I mean, that's a great save. Richarlison's heading it into the bottom corner. And he's down, watches the bounce, palms it away from danger. I mean, look, obviously, Raya and Alisson are better goalkeepers. But in the context of the season, player of the season should be the player that does well that season. And he has been brilliant this season. They've landed on a good goalkeeper there, haven't they? Remember the season they had... what's his name? Henderson and... Oh, he used to be at Real Madrid. Navas, that was it. Turner wasn't very good, was he? Goalkeepers make... Look, Chelsea fans, beware. Goalkeepers are big, big, big changes. You know, Turner struggled at Forest and Forest struggled. Look at Sells this year. It's not the only reason, but... been a very, 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 very good goalkeeper this season. We were blaming Spurs' poor form on their long injury list. What's the excuse now, says Mojito. Fair point, well made. Gimme Sells at United any day, says Ross. I mean, if they get a clean sheet here, I mean, Spurs probably are good for 1 goal. But 9 minutes to go, probably not going to get any. This is a very impressive win. Everybody's at it. Chelsea last night, Chelsea yesterday, Villa on Saturday, Man City on Saturday. Just incredible, really. Still hasn't brought Maddison on. It's not the dart season, is it? It's mad, isn't it? You're 2-0 down and he still doesn't want to use Maddison. Remember when you said that's the worst Premier League season as there's no drama? Well, the 14th and 15th are in the semis in Europa. When did I say it was the worst Premier League season? I've said this season's been a good season. I think you're mixing me up. Trouble Boys Club, thank you very much for your super chat. What's your favourite Italian club? Juventus. Classic. Blackburn Rovers 94, 95 or Leicester? Definitely Leicester, Amo. Do you not realise who Blackburn stopped winning the league in 94, 95? I'm not going to vote for that. You having a bloody laugh? Bloody stole the title from us with them bloody checkbook. No chance. I tell you what, if Andy Cole could have finished that day against West Ham, we'd have won the league as well. What will happen first? Spurs winning the league, Mark will see a white shark from his home, or Tom Cruise becomes the next Pope. I'd go with Tom Cruise winning the Pope, although global warming, you never know. Dennis says, in fairness, Maddison got a knock on Thursday against Frankfurt. Well, Forest won it in the first 20 minutes, didn't they? 2 goals, sit back, defend, soak up the pressure. Hardly had any shots since then. Man City, Villa tomorrow. I'll love it if Villa win. It's going to be hard, though. I mean, 5 Premier League wins in a row. Not many do 6. Do you think it would improve officiating if each country used different countries' officials? Yes, I do, Garfield. I think you should go for the best. The Premier League, look, Forest and Spurs aren't full of English players, are they? So why is our officiating? Football is a language of its own. It shouldn't be restricted by barriers. I think obviously you need to speak English, but if you've ever been to London or any other big city, for that matter, in the UK, there's a lot of people who can speak English that weren't born here. So why can't we use officials that aren't born here? When are you gonna come down? When are you going to land? I can't believe Spurs, well, they might score in a minute, but I can't believe they're not going to score here. Thanks everyone who's got involved tonight, by the way. Please do subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Welcome to That's Football. Everybody's welcome here. Really looking forward to the City game tomorrow. That's a goal. That is a goal. And you notice how I nearly didn't clap that? I just sort of like, and then I better clap that. It's a good goal. It is a good goal. It's squeaky bum time now. I tell you what, Chelsea fans, Villa fans, Man City fans, who else is in the top right place? Newcastle fans. That is a great header. That is a great header. It's a lovely cross by Porro. I'm surprised, you know what? I am surprised. I did say putting crosses into the box against these Forest centre-backs isn't going to work. Well, it did. And I don't know whether that's bad marking. It's a fantastic header by Richarlison, you know. You've got to say that that is really, really good. And that'll make Forest think now, because Spurs can now pump crosses into the box in the knowledge they've scored 1. 3 minutes to go. The cross worked. I can't send you Super Chat more than $2. It's odd, says Richard. It is odd. Is Salah more of a legend than Gerrard, says Off the Post? Well, you're the Liverpool fan. You tell me. I can't dictate your legend. I think legends of your club has to be dictated to by fans of your club. I can't tell you who a Liverpool legend is because I don't love Liverpool. I can tell you about United. Top 5 United number 7s in order, says Troubled Boys Club. Do I have to see them play? Because I think in order, it would have to be in order of what matters to this football club. Ronaldo 5. Cantona 4. Beckham 7. Beckham 3. Robson 2. Best 1. But obviously I didn't really see 2 of them play. But it'd have to be best first. I'd have to go based on a lot of people I know who go Robson second. I think Cantona was brilliant, but I preferred Beckham. And I think Ronaldo would have to be 5th. Rooney didn't wear 7. I feel sorry for Spurs and 2xG 6. Southampton Spurs being Spurs, says NT. Mate, have you seen the league table? Like, Spurs are a weird football club. Like, they are currently 5th from bottom. And they've got 10 goal difference. Like, they're the only team in the bottom half of the table, apart from Brentford, who've got a plus goal difference. Their goal difference is better than Villa, who were 7th. Like, they've got 10 goal difference, and they're 5th from bottom. They're a weird team. They've scored 61 goals. They've scored more goals than Chelsea. Scored more goals than Forest. They've scored the same amount of goals as Arsenal. They're a really weird team. How do you score the same amount of goals as Arsenal but lose 18 games and be 5th from bottom? It's mad. It's absolutely mad. How long's been added on? 5 minutes. Freddie says, what was for dinner? You know what I had for dinner? At Christmas, we bought a load of party food and we didn't use it all, so we put it in the fridge, in the freezer. And yesterday, we had the lamb lunch, and today it was like, bloody hell, we haven't really got anything to eat. So just defrosted a load of that and had a party food dinner. And loads of chocolate. Let me know yours. I feel, thank you very much for that. Forest are going to make a late sub here. Did you see United beat Deport Rio, Mark? Mika has to wear Ginger's Crocs on Super Sunday. No, I didn't see it because I was watching this. Hello, Mark. Dog, Leash or Robson? Are you having a laugh, Niloy? I'm not old enough to know, but I'm obviously going to go with United. Robson. Would you fight Jake Paul for £1 million, says Constantine? I think I'd want more than 1 million, thanks. Beans on toast was invented in America, says Darth. Well done. Do you want a statue? So, we've still got 3 minutes to go here. Forest have got it in the Spurs half, which has been a rarity since they went 2-0 up. Good play here by Hudson-Odoi. Possession now. We've all been there. Just keep the ball. That's a terrible ball, that is. Keep it on the ground. don't know why he went diagonally long with that. There was a couple of ground passes he could have played just to keep it, eat the clock up a little bit more. That's going to be a free kick. I don't think Forest will fear a cross like this because it's from a set piece. It's a long way out. It's going to be hard to get pace on it. Everyone will be marking everybody up. If you look at the Richarlison goal, it's a moving ball. You know, it's easier to get space. But from an actual set piece like this, everyone's ready. They're set. They're marking everyone. It's much more difficult to get on the end of it. Not impossible, but it's harder for Spurs to find some space in a packed penalty box like this. But they are on the back post. Tell. And they'll clear that away. They're back again. And Forest have won it. Minute to go. Goes long. That's giving them Spurs the throw. Thanks for all the super chats tonight, by the way. Appreciate that. Thanks everyone who's tuned in. Make sure you subscribe. That's a good ball out to Porro. Now, this is where they scored before. And he wants a free kick, but it's actually a throw-in. Mate, it's very obvious that you're acting. Get up. Throw in. Would I, hypothetically speaking, would I take Ronaldo at United on loan for a couple of months at 150k a week? I'd take him for the last 2 months of the season, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't take him for anything longer than that. Well, there we go. Gibbs White, go for the corner, mate. It's not Gibbs White. Still go for the corner. What's he doing? Number 9. He's trying to score a bloody Van Basten volley. Go for the corner, you prat. You're not him. He's won a free kick. That's probably it. Yeah, we are live tomorrow. Keep an eye on that table. If Villa were to win tomorrow, they'd go to 4th. You feel they need to win. If they were losing tomorrow, I think Champions League is going to be very difficult for them with 4 games to go. Brilliant game. Brilliant game. Some brilliant results in the top 5 race. Chelsea yesterday, Villa and City on Saturday. But tomorrow night, it's all about it again. And also, fair play to Forest for winning this. Going to Spurs, getting 3 points when they're under pressure. 18 defeats for Spurs. Look, it's a similar situation to United. Spurs fans aren't going to be happy about it, but it's over. And it's all about the Europa League. I mean, Spurs fans will be phoning up. But the reality is, if you win the Europa League, he won't get sacked because he'll have won something that you'd never dream of winning. It's weird. It's weird, and it's very similar to the United situation. But fair play to Forest. We're back tomorrow night. Man City against Villa. It's going to be a cracker. Tune in for that. Thanks everyone for watching. Stay safe. I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Legends.